Hi everybody, and thank you very much for joining us here at Railbookers for another of our on-demand sessions today, looking at Scotland with Railbookers and our 5 most popular holidays north of the border. My name is Anna Davis. I'll be your host for our time together today, and we're going to take about 25 minutes to give you an overview of some of our favourite Scottish trips to take in the next 2 years. So without further ado, we'll make a start. And now I know that a number of you listen into our sessions regularly, but perhaps those of you who are new to Railbookers are just going to take a few minutes to give you a few background details about who we are, how we help, and what makes us a bit different. So first of all, our holidays are for independent travellers. You don't travel as part of a group. They're not escorted holidays. You travel independently, and that means that you have the flexibility to create exactly the holiday that you want. So as we go through the presentation today, indeed, as you come across any of our holidays on our website or in our brochures, those really are just sample holidays. Nothing is fixed with Railbookers. So if you want to add in extra nights, extra destinations, do the holiday in a slightly different order, all of these things are entirely possible because it's your holiday, so you can have it the way that you wish. What makes us really unique is that we can book these holidays by rail up to 2 years in advance. Indeed, from 2 days' time to 2 years in advance. So right now we are able to book right the way through to December 2023. And our team of experts have been creating these trips for about 17 years now. So we're able to give lots of recommendation, lots of advice on the best routes, the best timings, the best way to explore some of these destinations by the tracks. So by all means, if you are planning, thinking, considering a trip, then please do give us a call and we'd be very happy to give you some assistance with putting that trip together. Again, if you're in the sort of trip planning stage and are looking for some ideas, we do have a range of digital brochures that you can access on our website, from indeed a Scottish holidays brochure, our UK and Ireland brochure, as well as our worldwide Spanish cruise extensions, luxury brochures. Lots of ideas and inspiration in there to get you planning for next year. And just to touch on the fact that our maximum flexibility policy, which gives you the option to change your date, the duration, or even the destination of your holiday up to 60 days prior to departure, is still very much in place, giving customers a lot of peace of mind since the start of the pandemic. And if you'd like any more information on that, or indeed have any questions, do give our team a call on 0203 780 2222. Now, I mentioned that our holidays are independent rather than travelling as part of a group. That doesn't mean that if you need our assistance whilst you're away, you're entirely alone, because you do have the 24-hour support from our offices and teams around the world, from here in the UK, but also in Australia, in North America as well. So there's always somebody awake from the Railbookers team should you need our assistance, should you have any issues whilst you're travelling, and that information is provided in the travel documents that you get a couple of weeks before departing. Now, we work with the rail partners on the screen here and others worldwide to create very much a one-stop shop for our holidays. So as we'll go through the presentation today, you'll see that our holidays are inclusive not only of the rail travel, but of the hotel accommodation, the excursions, the sightseeing, and more. Some of our trips further afield will also include flights in some cases, car hire, ferries, transfers as well. So really taking all of that complexity away for you to book all of your holiday needs in one place. So without further ado, let's take you to Scotland, and really looking forward to sharing 5 of our most popular trips to Scotland. These are some of the most popular bookings coming in right now. And we'll start with Edinburgh and The Jacobite, which is a 6-day trip with a starting price of £999. So it starts with a journey overnight from London on the Caledonian Sleeper all the way up to Fort William. There are 2 branches of the Caledonian Sleeper, and this one will take you from London all the way to Fort William overnight. You're based in Fort William for a 2-night stay, and whilst you're there, you will travel on one of the world's most beautiful train journeys through or along the West Highland line all the way up to Mallaig and return, and that's on the Jacobite steam train. It's about an 84-mile round trip, but as I say, widely thought to be one of the most scenic rail experiences, rail journeys in the world. You'll then have a 2-night stay in Edinburgh as well, so a great mixture, as all of our trips are really, of some really unique rail experiences here on the Caledonian Sleeper and the Jacobite, as well as some spectacular scenery and open spaces of the West Highlands, as well as a stay in one of the world's most iconic cities in Edinburgh. So great combination, as I say, 6 days starting from £999. We'll take a quick look at the holiday itself and your experience with it. So the Caledonian Sleeper here, essentially very much almost a brand new train. It was relaunched in 2019. For obvious reasons, didn't have a huge number of people travelling on it last year. So you will be travelling basically on a brand new train with a range of accommodation on board. The most popular combination or accommodation for our customers is here either the classic room, as you see here, with the upper and lower berth, or indeed the club room, which has the same sleeping accommodation, but also with ensuite facilities. You do also have your breakfast included if you choose one of the sleeping berth accommodation types as well. Caledonian Sleeper, one of the rare trains now in the world that has a full-size double bed on board here, the Caledonian Double. There are 2 of these cabins per departure. These are also en suite. It also comes with your breakfast included. But you can also make use of the lounge car on board the Caledonian Sleeper. Some customers opting to have the meals served in their cabin, but you can also eat in the lounge car as well. Made freshly to order with the chefs on board. Lots of seasonal Scottish produce, including salmon, of course, here, and a well-stocked bar as well for travelling north. So a really great experience travelling on the Caledonian Sleeper. Mentioned also this, the Jacobite steam train, which again you'll take from Fort William to Mallaig return, and also very much nowadays known as the Hogwarts Express from the Harry Potter films, but here it is crossing over the Glenfinnan Viaduct. It's a journey of lots of extremes. You'll pass the highest mountain of Ben Nevis, you'll pass the deepest freshwater loch, you'll travel through the most westerly railway station, so lots of extremes that you can tick off its list as you travel. But it's an absolutely beautiful route to take at any time of the year. The Jacobite runs between April and October. If you travel outside of those times, you'll still travel on the same line, but on a ScotRail service. But the scenery as you travel through the West Highland line, really second to none. On board, 2 levels of accommodation, standard class, but also here is first class, and this has also proven to be very, very popular over the last 12 months. And you can also upgrade slightly further and order an afternoon tea to be served on board whilst you travel. So if that's something you'd like more information on, as I say, please do give us a call and we can give you all of the information you need about upgrading on board the Jacobite. You'll have a few hours in Mallaig at the end of the Jacobite line before then returning back to Fort William. Now, next wanted to share our Grand Tour of Scotland. This is a 10-day holiday with a starting price of £1,199. And it takes you again on the Caledonian Sleeper in club class, this time up to Inverness. And you're based in Inverness for 2 nights, and during that time you'll have a day trip from Inverness over to the Kyle of Loch and also over on the road to the Isle of Skye. You're on the route past the Eilean Donan Castle, and you'll have a few hours there as well. This holiday also includes a trip on the Jacobite because you'll be in Fort William for 2 nights on this one as well. But as well as 2 nights in Edinburgh, it also includes a 2-night stay in Glasgow. And whilst you're in Glasgow, you have a day trip out to the beautiful Loch Lomond and historic Stirling Castle. And that's before then returning back down to London. Now, I should also point out you do have a number of options with regard to the UK rail journey as well. We can book your train tickets from your local station to join this holiday. So from your local station to London to travel north on the Caledonian Sleeper. Equally, if you prefer to do this all by day trains, then we can organise day services from your local station up to Inverness to start this trip as well. So lots of flexibility, subject to exactly what you're looking to do. Now, the Grand Tour of Scotland has you based in Inverness. We use this very much as a base for a lot of our Scottish holidays. It's in a great location, really the gateway to the Highlands as it's referred to. Lovely compact city in itself as well, and lots to explore, as well as Inverness Castle. You've got the Museum of Art there as well, And during April to October, we do include the hop-on, hop-off pass for you to explore Inverness at leisure. This is the Kingsmill Hotel. It's our favoured hotel in Inverness, and where a lot of our customers stay. It's based on the edge of Inverness Golf Course. It has a lovely outlook, but very centrally located too. A really family-run establishment, very, very comfortable. As you can see there, the rooms very well equipped. You will, on the day trip out to Skye, stop at this, the Eilean Castle, probably the most photographed castle in Scotland, and in a beautiful setting where a number of lochs come or meet together. So you'll have a few hours there to explore the history dating back beyond the 13th century. And then you'll travel over to Skye. So this is on a small group tour where you'll be driven from Inverness over to Skye, and you'll stop at all of the most famous landmarks in Skye, including here, of course, the harbour of Portree, but also the Kerrang, Kiltrock, and others, before then travelling back to Inverness. So it's a full day tour, leaving at about 8 AM and getting back early evening into Inverness. Whilst you're in Glasgow, you will have the second day trip out to Stirling Castle, as I mentioned, and also Loch Lomond. Stirling Castle, one of Scotland's most historically important sites, and once a favoured residence of the Stuart kings and queens, who gave many a grand celebration and party at the castle. So lots of history to explore, and on a really beautiful high point with great views over the wider area. You'll also have 2 nights in Glasgow itself, lots to see and explore in the city as well, including this, the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum, one of Scotland's most popular free attractions, and it features 22 themed state-of-the-art galleries displaying an incredible 8,000 objects there, wide-ranging, and a great place to spend a few hours. There is Salvador Dali there, for example, and there's also a Spitfire hanging in one of the main galleries too. So definitely worth a visit. Now, with another island theme, so we've talked about visiting the Isle of Skye, how about staying on the Orkneys and doing that partly by rail? So this Scottish Highlands and the Orkneys trip is a 9-day holiday with a starting price of £1,499. Again, starts with your journey overnight on board the Caledonian Sleeper, travelling north, and you're in Inverness here for a 3-night stay altogether. It starts with 2 nights in Inverness, and you'll do that day trip over to Skye by road whilst you're there. After your second night in Inverness, you'll then travel north again by private transfer up to John O'Groats to take the ferry over to the Orkneys. You'll have 2 nights staying on the Orkneys, where you will also have a guided tour around the islands by a local guide. And then after your second night in the Orkneys, you'll travel back over to Inverness. You'll have a further 1 night stay in Inverness before then travelling south to Edinburgh for the final 2 nights of the trip before returning home. Now, on the way to catching the ferry over to the Orkneys, you will have a chance to stop off at this Dunrobin Castle. Definitely worth spending a few hours here in a beautiful location and one of the largest of the castles in the area. But then you'll then travel over to the Orkneys and you will have, as I say, on the second day, a full guided tour of the island, including this, the standing stones of Stennes, lots and lots of historic sites of interest on the Orkneys, lots of the standing stone circles, as well as Skara Brae, all older, significantly older than Stonehenge, with lots of mythical stories about them, but very much lived in sites discovered in this case following a shipwreck in the area. Sticking with the island theme, could also opt for the Outer Hebrides. So a 9-day holiday with a starting price of £1,199 follows the same route as the previous holiday, so travelling north up to Inverness for 2 nights, the Isle of Skye day trip. But then on this time, you will travel up to Ullapool to take the ferry between Ullapool and Stornoway. You'll stay on the Outer Hebrides for 2 nights, and you will then again have a fully guided tour of the area before then travelling back to Inverness for a further night, down to Edinburgh for a 2-night stay before returning home. Now, again, you'll have some great opportunities to visit some historic sites of interest. And once you arrive on, well, once you leave Inverness to travel north, I should say, to the Outer Hebrides, you'll catch your ferry over to the island. And this sea trip itself is actually a real highlight. It's absolutely spectacular as you approach the Outer Hebrides. It takes you along Loch Broom past the Summer Isles and out to Stornoway, the capital of the Outer Hebrides. But you'll also visit these, the Callanish stones, more of these standing stones, prehistoric sites on the island. You'll travel and visit the Butt of Lewis with its lighthouse there, which I believe has been recorded as the windiest place in the British Isles officially by the Guinness Book of Records. And you'll also visit some of the most spectacular beaches, including here on Harris, Luscantire Bay, for example, with its beautifully white sands and turquoise waters. Now, lastly but not leastly, if you're looking to visit Scotland for perhaps a special occasion, a delayed birthday anniversary from the last year or so, then why not consider going out with style and travelling on the Belmond Royal Scotsman Highland journey. This is a 5-day holiday with a starting price of £4,699 and is a return trip from Edinburgh. So you have a 2-night stay in Edinburgh before then boarding the Royal Scotsman at Edinburgh Waverley Station. And on this particular route, you'll then travel through over to Perth to Dundee, based outside Dundee, for 1 night before then hugging the coast and then round to Inverness, all on the Royal Scotsman itself, travelling and staying overnight on the train with visits around the Scottish Highlands, including to the Culloden battlefields, a visit to the Strathyla distillery, and also the option to take part in a little bit of clay pigeon shooting on the Rothiemurchus estate. So lots of different options available on the Royal Scotsman to enjoy excursion sightseeing that is organised for you. You do also have the option to enjoy the spa on board the Royal Scotsman itself if you're looking to unwind there on board the train. Now, the Royal Scotsman, a really unique way, a really special way to visit this part of the world. Everybody that boards at Edinburgh Waverley Station departs to the sound of the piper as you board the train. The onboard dining, it belongs to the same family of trains as the Venice Simplon Orient Express. As you'd expect, therefore, the onboard dining very much first class silver service experience, beautifully laid out dining car, a really sociable environment, and the Royal Scotsman, often referred to as a country hotel on the rails. It has 37 ensuite cabins, so it has a really cosy, intimate setting for travelling on board the train, and you do get to know your fellow passengers. It's a really convivial way to spend a few days. The food on board, all made freshly to order to a high standard by the private chefs on board, again showcasing some of the most sort of special regional produce from the salmon. You may also have kedgeree for breakfast, pigeon, lots of game often served on board the train as well again as a fully stocked bar, lots of single malts, a really lovely way, special way to sample the local produce as you travel. Now, all the cabins on board the Royal Scotsman are en suite, and there are a range of different cabins on board. So there are single cabins, twin cabins, adjoining cabins, and also a double cabin here. The single cabin, and then a twin cabin there as well. So you can see lots of wood marquetry, beautifully designed with comfortable beds and dressing table there as well, but also fully en suite as you go. The lounge car, a perfect place to spend an afternoon when you're back from one of the sites excursions, but also a lovely place to meet for a pre-dinner drink or a nightcap. And also, whilst the train travels, you do have some local experts come in, sometimes providing music, sometimes providing talks on history, wildlife, and the wider region as you go. So very much the social hub of the train in the lounge car. So a very whistle-stop tour of our 5 most popular holidays to Scotland at the moment. If you'd like any more information, please do visit our website at railbookers.co.uk. On there, you'll also find our brochures to download, including the Scottish Holidays trip. We have a range of blogs as well, if you'd like to read some more details on some of the trips. But you'll also find a holidays page on each of the itineraries that I've talked about today, which will give you the day-by-day information as well as the pricing through to December 2023. But really all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for tuning in to our on-demand presentation today. Hope it's given you some ideas of where you'll be travelling to next. If you'd like any help, if you have any questions, please do give us a call on 0203 780 2222. We're open Monday to Friday, 9 till 5:30. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you again on another of our on-demand presentations soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.